Hi my dears, in a new Adobe Photoshop tutorial. So this time we will learn step by step how to create this wonderful glow effects using of course Adobe Photoshop. Before we begin, if you don't have the Adobe Photoshop installed in your machine, I place the link in the description below where you can download the last version of Adobe Photoshop pre-activated from my personal save link. And for the images and resources used in all my tutorials, you will find a second link in description where you can find a direct link to download all these resources for free. So let's begin. We open the image we will work on. We make a little zoom in, and using the quick selection tool, we will try to select the part from the shows we will create the glow effect on. So we use the plus and the minus option from the quick selection tool to refine our selection. So like you can see here, we select the first part from our image, the Nike mark, like you can see here. So we make a little zoom in and we play a little with the size of the quick selection tool, and using the minus option now we try to remove the parts we don't want to include in our selection, like you can see here. So we try to refine the edges of our selection to make of course the effect look great. Selection is a very essential part from any graphic design work, of course a professional graphic design work. So we will go to these parts at the bottom and we will try to add it to our selection using another time the same quick selection tool, which is very handy and very useful in this kind of selection. So we continue refining the selection and removing the parts we don't want to include in our glow effect. So we make a little zoom out, and using Ctrl C from the keyboard we copy the selection, and using another time Ctrl V from the keyboard we paste our selection in a new layer. Like you can see, we have here the parts from the shoes in a new layer. We come back to the first layer which contains the whole image, and we go to the color lookup effect and we use the Moonlight 3DL option, like you can see here. And for now we go to the brightness and contrast effects. We make the brightness, we minimize the brightness, and we adjust the contrast just a little, like you can notice here. I think with these values it's very good. We use Ctrl G from the keyboard to create a new copy. We go to the blending mode and we choose the divide mode. We convert the layer to a smart object and we go to filter, blur, and we choose Gaussian blur. And here we will make the radius at 20 pixel, and using Ctrl G another time we copy and paste the layer, we go to Gaussian blur, we change the radius to 14. A third time, using Ctrl G from the keyboard, we create a third copy and we edit the Gaussian blur to 18. In the same manner, this time we make the radius at 200 and Ctrl G like always, and we edit the Gaussian blur, we make the radius 400. So now everything is fine, so we select the whole layers together from the layer 1 here, and we choose all the layers, and using Ctrl G from the keyboard we create a group, and we go to the effects, we go to hue and saturation effects, we click the letter arrow to make the effect applied just in our group, which contains all the layers together. We create a new empty layer and selecting the color from the glow effects and using the brush tool with these values in the flow, like you can see here as the top, we use 35 as the flow, and using the brush tool we will try to make a little light effect. We have to change, before applying the brush tool, we have to change the blending mode to color judge, and we use the brush tool to create this little light effect around our selection to make the glow effect looks more real and more professional. And we try to play a little with the opacity to make the effect don't look so exaggeratable. Like you can see here, this is the light effect we get. So for now we will use a combination of keys from the keyboard, Ctrl plus Alt plus Shift plus E from the keyboard, to create a new layer from the whole layers at the bottom. Like you can see, we create a new layer which contains all the layers we have earlier. So we go to the camera raw filter, and here we will change the values of the temperature. Just be careful about the values I will use there to finalize our glow effect. So we add temperature, the tenth, we make it minus 56. For the exposure we make it minus 0.18. The contrast, I think here I go with plus 87. For the highlights, plus 81. For the shadows, I think here I should make it minus something like 28. For the whites, plus 21. And for the texture, plus 18. And for the dehaze, we will make it minus 15. And like you can see here, we get a very wonderful result using these very easy and simple tricks to get this very professional glow effect. Alright guys, I wish this tutorial was useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and if you don't have any problem applying this lesson or installing the software, just leave me a comment and I will reply to help you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next tutorials.